City Council as the waste minimisation officer there. So for this session, we're going to be talking makeup, moon cups, and minimalism, and we're going to be learning how Ethically Kate goes zero waste. Kate Hall, known as Ethically Kate, is an educator, activist, and blogger who encourages people to consider their interaction with people and the planet. Kate works with sustainability-focused companies to help them communicate online, plus shares her everyday habits in the hopes other people will consider low waste living as well. So I also follow Kate on Instagram, and I would throw a follow if you want any tips, because you're always assessing different types of products and businesses that are doing great things. So I'll hand over to Kate.
Hello everyone, it is great to be here. I am in the very currently rainy Hibiscus Coast Peninsula, which is just north of Auckland. I've lived here for most of my life and had a few stints overseas, and I have been known as Ethically Kate for about the last 4 years. I basically learnt about the fashion industry's impact on the planet in terms of environmentally and socially, and then I couldn't start asking who made my clothes, where do my clothes go after I've made them, without asking where does my water come from, where is it going, what about my food. So it just kind of snowballed into that, and I'm quite an extrovert. I love people and I love talking, and so I couldn't shut up about it. So I just kept on sharing, and a lot of you may know me from my blog, from Instagram online. If we've talked before, hello, it's very good to see you in person, and I'm looking forward to chatting afterwards too, because I know there is a wealth of knowledge of you guys here. I'm no expert in any regards of anything. I'm always learning, but I just simply try my best, and I love that was a message that everyone has spoken about so far, about I try to avoid personally the term zero waste, and I try to opt for the low waste, because the second you take a breath in and breathe out, some could argue that you've just released, carbon dioxide, and that you've used up a resource, and that, what is waste. So I opt for the low waste, and for things that are, thinking positively, cup overflowing rather than cup half full. So I'm talking about three things that I could talk probably for days about. So I'll try to keep things short. Please think of questions if you have them at the end. We can chat. I can try my best to help answer them. I also have a lot of resources that I can direct you to as well if I can't answer them myself. So the first thing is makeup. I'm personally not wearing any makeup right now. I felt like I probably should in hindsight, seeing that's the topic, but I have some makeup in front of me. This is what I use. I've never been a full-blown cake my face makeup person, but I definitely still use it. I think it is a great way to express yourself and to feel good in yourself. When it comes to plastic-free makeup, you will have noticed that it's quite impossible. I personally recently tried a plastic-free mascara, which comes in a little jar, a little glass vial with a metal cap, and then the brush is bamboo stick that you can reuse and wash after every use. And it's only the brush which is plastic, but it's not a single-use plastic. It should technically last for years. And it was terrible. I personally, it takes like probably 5 times the amount of time to apply mascara, especially when you're about to go out somewhere and you're trying to put it on. I have very, very pale eyelashes, so they're not already dark. So mascara is something that is quite important to me if I am putting makeup on. So I'm still, going through that process of trying to find a plastic-free mascara. For me, because I'm very minimal in my makeup, and I know a lot of people on that mascara topic, a lot of people mix things like aloe vera, charcoal and coconut oil to make their own mascara, and they may use a wand that they already have. They dip it in, or they may have a mascara cake, which you can get in a little tin, so you can dip in your brush and apply. I mean, sure, maybe it's more fiddly, maybe I should just suck it up and continue to use the glass vial, but I think we're getting very innovative with the different solutions that we have every single year. New things come out, so who knows, maybe in a year we'll have a plastic-free mascara. I use Aleph, which is super good for me because I don't wear much makeup It's tiny, it's my hand, it's really, really small, and it's all about using up less so that there's no water. This is a glass with a metal lid. And these are really handy for seed saving if you're a gardener, and for just storing things. I use this brand. I've known Emma, who created it actually. She had the same issue as a makeup artist, and so she created that brand because she couldn't find anything that was ethically made, vegan friendly and plastic free, so she created that. But for a lot of people, I think it is about using less and also compromising. So there's different ways that you can recycle. If you do have your makeup in plastic, you can recycle through a TerraCycle directly, but also a company called Emma Leishman just created the Beauty Circle, which means that any product, it doesn't just have to be hers, you can recycle through the Beauty Circle through here, and they'll go back. That literally launched last week. They'll take it back and recycle it through TerraCycle. I'm still personally looking into that to see if I can wholeheartedly trust that. It's really hard with makeup because you'll know that each product, you can't often get to the very end. So cleaning it before it's recycled is a huge, huge barrier. And a lot of it, because you can't clean it, will just end up in landfill, even if it is technically recyclable. So I'd recommend going there, especially if you're moving towards a less plastic heavy makeup scheme. If you have a lot of bottles that you are using up and going to get rid of, I'd recommend recycling them through the Beauty Circle too. So yeah, that's kind of what I use for makeup. Oh, this is great too because you can just apply it with your finger. I do have a brush, but which is much handier to use, but for someone who wants to have very minimal, also save on money, it's really, really, really easy to apply with your finger. So that eliminates a whole other product as well, which is great. Yeah, so that's makeup. We can talk about questions later. Oh, people are in the chat asking. The name of the makeup is Aleph, A-L-E-P-H, Aleph. Yeah, so that's what I use. That's the best one that I have found here in New Zealand. And I know there are a few worldwide. It's totally up to your personal preference. This works for me because I find myself traveling and popping around the place a lot, and this works really well in terms of it's not a powder that's going to get anywhere, or not really a liquid. It's more like kind of like a paste in a little thing. So yeah, moving on. There's 3 topics we have to talk about tonight. Write down your questions so we can talk about them afterwards. I hope I'm not rambling through too fast. But that's makeup. So when I wear makeup, that is what I wear. Yes, thank you for posting. Aleph, perfect. That's great. It's like I've got little chat assistants. Moving on to the next is moon cups. So menstrual cups are probably one of my favorite things. If someone said, look, you're going to have to go back to a plastic full life, but you can only keep one thing, it would be my menstrual cup. But don't worry, this isn't my actual menstrual cup. This has not been where it should go. So this is just my demonstration. These are 3 different sizes. This is my cup, and it's the only cup that's made in New Zealand, from my knowledge. At the moment, so it does mean it's slightly more expensive, but when you buy one, they give one to another person who menstruates in New Zealand who needs one too. So that's really awesome, because then that means it's pretty cheap, right? Because you're buying 2. So a menstrual cup, has anyone used a menstrual cup? Some people give me a nod or a shake. Yeah, awesome. Cool. So it looks pretty scary when someone shows you this. So this is my hand, this is the cup. When someone shows you that, definitely when someone said, okay, so you got to go put that up your hoo-hoo, it's, it can be like, excuse me, but it has been I'd say the most selfish change for me, just because it's changed the way I deal with my period every month. The ease of it. I'm a very active, sporty person. I love camping, festivals, and having this means it's just so much easier. It's actually kind of changes how practically you can live your life. So a menstrual cup obviously we usually have disposables, which are plastic. This is made from medical grade silicone. At the end of its life, which is 10 years, it will have to, at the moment, they currently have to go into the rubbish bin. They looked at different ways around recycling them into raceway tracks and things like that, but that wasn't really feasible. But I think using one of these for 10 years, which will save me approximately $2,600 over that time, nearly $8,000 in my lifetime, is pretty awesome. There's different folds. You can find all of these folds and a whole lot of info on my blog about my cup. There's different folds. This is my personal favorite. That's called the punch down like that. And there's different sizes. My cup don't just sell just the ones that they make. They sell, I'd say, 20 to 30 different ones, because our cervixes sit at different levels. We have different medical conditions. Some people have had babies, some people haven't. For some people that changes their body, some people it doesn't. So they're really good. They have a hotline that you can call to describe your situation, so you don't waste money on buying one, which is quite wasteful. You can know which one you need to buy first. So a cup essentially collects your blood, you insert it, collects the blood, then you pinch and pull. All of this information is on my website, and I did a lot of educational videos for schools about this too, so my cup have all of those on there. You take it out and then you empty it into the toilet. Some people don't want to push the boat out, but some people even water their plants with it, or do different things with their menstrual blood, depending on their ethos around that too. My husband has not yet been okay with me watering my houseplants with my menstrual cup blood, but we'll work on that. Anyway, so menstrual cups, I want to show you, just because for some people that's no go. They don't want to put anything in them. They don't want to use one, and that's totally fine, because there are period underwear. These admittedly are made of plastic. Period underwear, I've never met any that don't have a certain amount of plastic, in terms of they have to have elastane, they have to have that stretch, but still these last for, got some stats here, 24 periods, as opposed to using, you know, several pads and liners. Period underwear just collects. It's basically a built-in reusable pad, and reusable pads are like this, which, or these ones last for 60 periods. When you add that up, I'm talking about, 12 periods a year on average. But a menstrual cup is definitely much better in terms of the plastic-free, waste-freeness, because it lasts for 10 years. It lasts for 120 periods. So yeah, that's a bit about menstrual cups, moon cups. How are we doing for time? We're doing good. Move on to minimalism. I think I mentioned everything with the cups, didn't I? I wanted to also say that if menstrual cups aren't something that you, or reusable period products are something that you can't afford, for a lot of people there is still a lot of period poverty in New Zealand, and a lot of people can't go to school or can't go to work because that can, these products, and even just $20 a month to buy disposables is really unaffordable. Yes, you got it. The Good Fund can help you, or if you know someone who this could benefit from, they can help you to either subsidize or fully fund your reusable menstrual products. Yeah, so that's a pretty awesome way to fight period poverty in New Zealand. So the Good Fund is a place to go, and also a place to support if you're someone who doesn't need that support, but you're able to offer some help because it's fully funded by donators. So moving on to the third M. So we've covered makeup, which you put on your face. We've covered moon cups, and then a few different options of what you can use aside from moon cups to deal with your period. And now minimalism. So I'm not a minimalist. I think some people assume that I am from my values, but about 2 years ago I did the minimalist challenge with my husband Tim. I am a writer, and I was writing about minimalism for another platform, and he was like, let's do this challenge. So we did, and we gave away nearly 1,000 things in the space of a month. And it became this value set that is really, really strong for us now. And I believe it's one of the ones that keeps most plastic away in our lives. Before anything comes through the threshold in our front door, we consider it really, really deeply before we let it come in. So even if someone's giving us something, or it's, you know, or it's free or it's cheap or whatever, it's a responsibility to then have that, and you know, that's then your responsibility to dispose of and to care for. So we just have a minimalist mindset in terms of not accepting things that campaigners give you on the street, or just not, you know, not taking the mints at the Indian restaurant when you're leaving. At New World, I swiped away a chocolate fish in a plastic wrapper as they tried to give it to me today because I used my club card. I said, no, thank you, I don't like things that are in plastic. And that starts a conversation point too. So I know we need to break out into breakout rooms now, but minimalism, and don't have to be a minimalist, but just using less stuff and just dealing with what you have is a really, really good way to just